Got to do a boop, boop, robot.
That's the best intro of a welcome back podcast party is when Alex starts it off with his nipples are getting hard. So
okay, that's Alex's excitement. There's no denying how excited he feels right now.
Heck yeah.
Well, we got to tell the people who they're talking to and what this is all about. First off, I want to just, if you guys have noticed, if you were waited with bated breath for the year since we came out with the new podcast, well, welcome back. Chances are that's not you. So let's give you a little introduction of who we are and what we're about. Go real quick, speed round. My name is Chris Cusimano. Next.
Okay.
My name is Alex Mendel. Ladies last.
I was like, Jen Konikoff. Ladies always first. Come on, bro.
Jen with one N. All right, so
best for last.
We are a group of real estate agents that had a podcast about a year ago for a while. Well, to be fair, we replaced my old co-host with Alex, who we'll introduce you to in a second. But it was Jennifer, myself, and Josh Vega. And we didn't kick Josh out. He just got too busy with other stuff. And the reason why we stopped, truthfully, it's my fault because we had a baby and I was just too much stuff going on. By the way, this is Chris Cusimano talking. And I'm going to tell you why we picked Alex in a minute. But first, let's get a little bit more into who Jennifer Konikoff is real quick. Tell us about you.
Oh, hey guys. Jen Konikoff here with one N, as he said. And not Jennifer, Jinifer. People say it like that. I'm like, oh, what's that? Jen. So I am a part of the Homes by Cusi team at Keller Williams in Boca Raton with Alex and, of course, Chris. So I don't know. What is there to tell about me? I'm extremely quirky.
We all here have children. You have children. You have a husband. You're what else? You have a running club. What's up?
Yeah. I'm all the above. Wife, mother, awesome person. And I do have a running club, so I'm gonna do a shameless plug here. Every Wednesday, running club in Coconut Creek Running Club, and we do a once a month long run and wherever we decide. So yeah, I'm super excited to be here, Chris. As you know, I was about to go in a very different direction, along with what Alex said before. I was like, wait, let's bring it back.
Nipples?
Yes, I was going to say, I was like, mine are not as hard as Alex's, but I'm really excited.
I think the people, you got to like date the people listening for a little bit first before you start talking about your
What's
nipples.
the rating for this? Are we like PG-13?
We do whatever
R? What's going on?
No, it's actually checked off as quote unquote explicit content. Just to be
safe. I do curse often.
Yeah,
I do have a little bit of a potty mouth.
And it depends on who you ask. Good. Some people say you're more intelligent if you curse, and some people just say you're less intelligent. I don't know what's right, but I curse, and I'm just going with more intelligent because it makes me feel good. Sometimes.
It definitely makes me feel better.
All right. So before Alex tells you who he is, I'm going to kind of explain. If you were listening to the podcast previously and you're jumping back in and you're seeing the new design, the new logo, and the new handsome face, I very rarely try to be around guys who are more attractive than I am, but that just seems to how this thing worked out. Right. So, the reason why I brought in Alex, I wanted to bring in people with the Homes by Cusi team in Boca for obvious reasons. If you like what we're saying and you want to send business, you'll send it to us. And Alex's office is literally next to my office. So if you're sending business our way, well, it's a 50-50 shot who you're going to send it to. So I had hesitations. But the big reason why I reach out to Alex is for a couple of reasons, actually. One reason is when you listen to podcasts with multiple voices on it, sometimes you don't know who is who. The voices are so similar. Alex and I have a clearly different cadence, different voice. I mumble a lot. He speaks clearly. I have a higher pitch voice. He's a deeper pitch voice, all that stuff. You can't mess us up. And also the other reason is he has a lot of energy, which goes good over quote unquote radio. And the other reason why I reached out to him, because he runs his business very similar to Jennifer and I. And I didn't want to bring someone on here. I didn't want to bring someone on who I just want to just like vomit a little bit every time they talk about how much they cold called that day. I just didn't want it.
Yeah.
And that's going to lead us to why we rebranded it as to the new real estate roadmap. I've been in coaching and training for a while now. What I'm realizing over and over and over and over again, every program that exists out there basically pitches the same stuff. Open houses, farming, cold calling, and door knocking. And us three are all successful agents in our middle ages with children, doing well, doing none of that stuff.
So, I guess middle ages.
I was going to say, I hate the concept of middle age.
Well, we are. Yeah, we are.
Nothing but a number, not a concept. And yes. I hate cold calling. hate cold
Although my
calling.
knees crack all the time.
I got these wrinkles here. I get it, dude. And do that.
No, let's not talk about that. I mean, I'm hiding my gray hairs with glasses just so that it doesn't shine this light, because the reflection is real back here.
You're giving me shit about dating us. Okay, Alex, tell everyone about who you are.
So I'm Alex Mendel. I've been a real estate agent in the Boca area for 11 years now. I actually started my career for 2 weeks in this KW office, and then I remember I attended Ignite, and I attended a class taught by you, Chris, and it was all about how to reach out to your database through Facebook. And I was like, wow, I think you only had like one kid at the time, maybe two. This was back in 2014, January 2014.
Yeah.
So I don't know how many kids you have. I remember Mary with her short little haircut. She hyped you up as the original golden boy. Now I'm here. Sorry, Chris.
You did take my spot.
So you were a bartender and you went all into like the internet and social media, and that was really new at the time, social media. I was like, wow, I can't wait to be like that guy one day. And then I left Keller Williams after about another week, and it's really like a full circle moment that I see you as like a peer, which is really rewarding for me. So really,
what's cool about your story? Your story was 90% about me, and then you left our office after going to my training. It's like, so was it good or bad? Obviously I didn't win you over.
Well, I was like a 23-year-old kid, and it was all
knew
about
everything.
Severe marketing. No, it wasn't that. It was about I didn't know what I needed to know. KW is really all about like your sphere of influence and like who you know, and everybody that I knew were still in college or graduating college. So
yeah.
At the time, KW, I've been at this office now since April of 2023, and I realized that I wish I never left.
I was going to ask you, what would you tell yourself before you left? Like, what would you shake yourself?
Well, first it would be, hey, you have ADHD. Don't wait 9 years to figure that out. Here's this prescription, and take this every day so you stop fucking around.
You're hyper-focused now.
And I'm hyper-focused now, which is amazing. But yeah, just stick to the models and implement. And don't be, just don't try and reinvent the wheel. There's ways to take the current technology that we have and implement it. I'm the same way as Chris. We've had this discussion many times where I hate calling my sphere and saying, hey, how you doing? What's going on? Like and
they know why you're calling.
Yeah, like
exactly.
I hate people. Like
no,
you never
first
realize.
Okay, we're gonna edit that out because you can't go into sales. Let me teach you about podcasting. Remember, what you say, people can hear you.
Yeah, no, it's I keep to myself.
You have a people like threshold. I think this is probably what you meant.
It's more so like I love helping people. Don't get me wrong. Like the most rewarding part of my job is, I won't work with people that I don't like. I've fired clients who haven't treated me well. I haven't taken listings just because I haven't even taken appointments because I could tell that they're not the greatest people who I want to surround myself with. I do have a tribe. Exactly. And I do have a circle. It's a small circle. And sometimes, it's like I have to put on my people person hat. At the end of the day, when I take it off, I'm exhausted. So, yes.
Well, you're like Jen and I, we are all, I would assume, we're all three of us seem to be all high ID personalities. And with high I's, we love people, but we really dislike pain in the asses. And a lot of people are a pain in the asses. They are. And when the D part of us, we don't have the patience for it.
I don't like wasting my time. I love helping people. I love I'm a people person. Like I love being around people. I love helping people, but I do not appreciate when my time is not appreciated and respected.
Yeah, let's be real. We're in sales. We're gonna get people who's gonna disrespect us, and high ID personalities like all three of us, we don't condone that well.
Mhm.
You just don't. By the way, Alex, I'm spending all of this time trying to clean up what you said. So just so you know, that's what I meant.
We're
I'm
gonna
real.
we're
I
gonna
don't
work
like to
through this.
sugarcoat things. I want people to know who I am. But at the end of the day, I will always go and make sure that everybody is satisfied and happy. And, you know, I never want to leave a sour taste in somebody's mouth, because I've always believed you are who you are. Um, and when you leave this earth, I want people going to remember you. I
Oh
want to
yeah.
be remembered as a good person, not an asshole.
Hey, but
There's
guess what?
time and
There's gonna
place
be.
for being an asshole.
Solid
But
legacy.
yes.
I love that. That's honorable. But you know what? The real thing about it, there's gonna be a time when no one remembers you, and nothing matters anyway.
At least for a year. You know what I mean?
Damn.
Just being real.
Way
Just being
to
It's
real.
way
true.
to get the guy while he was in his feelings.
Well,
Really
think
I'm
letting
about
trying
it,
to
us
create
know.
good content.
Jennifer. Who is your great grandmother's name? What's her name?
Great Abuela
Grandmother.
Leja.
There's no fucking way you know that.
Totally. Because I have an ancestry book.
Oh, see. Okay, tell me one thing about her and her life.
Okay, she was a native Taino Indian, Puerto Rico, and she had beautiful black hair. I'm very interested in my culture, so probably not the right person to ask.
Okay, fine. Maybe you are the wrong person to ask. My
And I was
point
like, I
for,
really do.
for
I
everyone
can't.
else listening, really ask yourself, who's your great grandfather, great grandmother?
Yeah,
Very few people are going to know their name
Yeah.
or anything about them. And that's so what,
I
guys, one
know.
day it's going to be like that with us. However, I get asked a lot, why do I post so much, mostly on Facebook? And I tell people a lot. It's like, for the first time in history, when I got into like my mid-20s, I think is when it came out, we can now document our lives that get stored forever. The future people can go into, or generation can go in and see what was Grandpa Alex like, well, great Grandpa Alex like. I never met him, right? And they're watching this podcast right now of you saying you hate people. And what was great Grandma Jenna like, right?
What happened to scooting that statement back?
Yeah, way to bring that. That was
You
so
just brought it.
12 minutes ago.
Yeah.
It was
brought it full circle.
It's a layup. But you know, I'm actually coming to a pretty good point on all this. So, a couple of things. There's people out there I see on social media that like puts the most horrendous, especially now because of politics stuff out there. And I'm like, man, you don't even realize how stupid you look to your great grandkids right now. Like, you just don't get it. And not only that, like, this is a great tool in the first time in human history that we can document our lives on a timeline of what we do and what we're about, where we can actually be remembered for more than 10 years after we're dead.
Yeah, I think it's pretty neat with social media, which you've been pushing this for a long time, is really showing people who we are, right? Not just in a professional setting, but a personal setting. And that's the beauty of social media and how to best use it specifically for us in this industry. Like, I am not one to shove down anyone's throat that I am a real estate agent, real estate professional. But plenty of people know that how it's through the storytelling, and that's, I think, such a beautiful concept of how different the three of us run our businesses, because we get to share who we are on so many different facets that people appreciate, know, and love, and then eventually work with.
I'm the same. If anybody looks at any of my social media, they can see how much my family means to me, especially my daughter. I still love my wife, but I told my wife and I agree that if it's between her and I or the kid, it's sorry.
It's always Ava.
Yeah, it's always Ava.
I knocked on Alex's door on my way out on Friday, or I don't know where. I was like, oh my God, can I just tell you, your daughter's like the sweetest thing ever. I have yet to meet Ava, but I feel like I know her.
But you know everything about him.
Yeah.
You know, so
that happens all the time when somebody reaches out to me, or if I see somebody that is like an online friend and they come up to me like, how's Ava? I love that she's eating mac and cheese now. I'm like, how do you know that?
I knew she brushed her teeth the other day.
Exactly. But like, I want people to know that I'm a good father, and a great husband. So that's the legacy I'm trying to leave for at least the next generation, maybe 10 years after my death. All right, Chris?
It will be longer if you keep
not next year.
If you keep putting out content and documenting your journey, you're going to find people in your future gene line, I guess is the word for it, that is going to be curious, and they're going to watch. They're going to watch this podcast. They're watching it right now. I'm talking to you, little Mendels, and they're going to be sharing like, hey, do you see this was Grandpa Alex's great first podcast he did, and can you believe that he took over the podcast world in 10 years, blah blah blah. And this is where it all began. You know what I mean? Like, that stuff's important, and that's why I always preach to people: document your journey. And especially in business too. Well, you shouldn't do it for business. Everyone should do it. But for business wise, is people hire people they know and trust and like. What better tool for free than Facebook and Instagram to share who you are? And it repels people who don't like you too.
Well, yeah, it weeds out the ones that really just don't connect with who you are as a person, don't align, right? And why would you want to work with that person? Sometimes leads come in and I'm like, oh, okay, we got this. I got to pep talk
We're working
myself
on one now, Jen. That's a little aren't we? Oh yeah. Yeah, they're out there. And I think that's the beauty of it. If you keep on putting who you are out there, you're going to attract people who are like you. And not only that, those people also hang out with similar people, and they enter your world, and eventually you're just surrounded, whether it's virtually or in person, with a bunch of people who think very similarly than you, with the same morals and ethics, whatever they are. And guess who hires you? Those people. And who's a less pain in the ass? Those people, because you get each other. And I've been preaching this for people forever. For the love of God, you don't need to cold call. You don't need a door knock. You don't need a farm and spend a fortune. You just have to find people who are like you and have them like you. You don't need everyone to like you. You need people who are like you to like you. And I
see
guess
the
that's our first
value.
real estate.
Yeah, and see the value that you provide. I mean, they can clearly see if you tell your story, if you share your story right, and obviously if you're a good person that really puts those needs, especially we are in a customer service industry. As long as we put out that messaging from a truthful place, people resonate with that.
Amen.
And there's no reason to have to keep pushing a concept, because it's going to naturally come to us. And I find that to be amazing.
And it's freeing.
I ain't
being
cold
yourself
calling
is
nobody.
freeing. No, I'm not cold calling anyone. I refuse.
No.
I refuse to do it.
I tried that before, and was not happy at the end of the day.
I tried it for
People
1 hour.
go for the no. Try to see how many no's you can get. Like, no.
No, I don't like no.
I'm telling you, I tried it for 1 hour. It was the cringiest hour of my life. I loathed it. And I think I was sweating and my armpits smelled at the end of it. Because I was so...
Listen, and that's why that model, yes, does it work? Yes. But can you long-term enjoy your life and make that a part of your process long-term?
Yeah.
No, I'm going to say no. I don't know anyone, because all the people who does the cold calling stuff, and they either now have hired other people to call for them and preach to everyone else to call. They don't do it themselves. Or they moved on to some other things. And if it were so great, how come everyone hates it? It's like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Sorry, Chris, but nobody likes receiving that call on the other end, right? For any time a telemarketer calls, we all know. Right. And my husband says I'm like the nicest lady in the world. I'll let him tell his spiel. I'm like, thank you, Bob. No, thank you, bye. Thank you so much, but no, thank you, bye. I at least give him the courtesy of saying thank you, no, thank you, bye. But I just can't. I can't imagine building a business around that model. It's just it doesn't align with who I am as a person and who I want to be remembered as. Like I believe wholeheartedly in the concept of legacy, and I think that meshes exactly with what we're trying to do long term.
Jennifer, I'm going to give you a tip though, and I love that you're kind to people cold calling. You should. Well, one, because it's just the right thing to do, and it's hard what they're doing. You have to have compassion for where they're at. And I always say that. However, guys, I add people into my database who cold call me for stuff. If I felt like their approach was right and they're hustling, I added a guy. Listen, I'm going to tell you a real story.
Okay, so I'm here for this. Bring it.
Yeah. So first off, learn from the calls. When someone's cold calling you, what are they saying? What's working? How are they keeping me on the phone longer? Right. You can learn these little tricks. You can learn something from everybody and also learn what not to do. 2, if someone if you like someone's vibe and their energy and stuff like that, and they're local, why not add them to your Dream 300 and market to them?
All
Maybe
right.
they can come into, listen, they're good at sales and we need good salespeople. Why wouldn't you get them to get into
I
real
can
estate?
see that. All right.
All right,
I'm gonna
so
give it a whirl.
So here, so before you dismiss people, listen to this. So I don't know exactly when, a gentleman called me. He's a contractor. And actually, because due to
Is his name Keith? Because he just called me and I had a lovely conversation.
Was it Keith? It might
I
have
swear.
been.
I was like,
funny.
Keith. I'm like,
What's
Keith.
his last name? I think it was.
Starts with an R.
Yeah, Rod Bell. Yeah, him. I added him to my database. You can't have him.
What? He called me first. I told him, like, Keith, I'm literally hopping onto this podcast. I want to hear what you're saying because I'm
I haven't gotten a call.
Oh, don't you feel left out?
Well, hold on. So I spoke to him. You didn't get to him first, by the way. He was a couple of days ago. But what was really cool about it is this is how you help your database. My friend Kara needs an architect, and I didn't have one a week ago. And then I said, "Hey, Keith, you're in contracting. Do you have an architect?" He's like, "Yeah." Can I have their info? Yeah. And then I sent it to her, and she's like, "Oh my God, you're a lifesaver." But that would have never have happened if you just didn't have a nice casual. And she's always gonna remember I was the guy who found her a contractor, right?
Yeah.
Look at you.
And then a guy today called me, and I have his name is here, Paul. And get this, guys, I'm not even kidding. He called me to invest.
Wait for it.
Yeah, he called me to invest, and you typically get these investor calls, right?
Yeah.
Alex, are we boring you? You want to?
No, I'm good.
Okay. He's on his phone.
No, it's just I remember things to do for this.
Well, if I'm boring you, I'm sorry, but
no,
I'll wrap up this one.
So fully engaged. Please tell me about the call.
Thank you. So this investor that called, he has $100 million. He represents people with a lot of money to invest in real estate.
In Nigeria?
And I asked him, yeah, right. And I asked him, I said, listen, dude, if you have this much money and you want to invest, I would love to revitalize my Cusi cash offer program with a solid investor. And we had a whole conversation about it. And we have a follow-up call coming up next week. But think about it. So now this guy has all this cash, and we can now offer cash offers on the spot for people, once again, who might be interested in a quick, fast closing.
How'd you connect with this guy?
He called me, a cold call. I don't know.
So he has the money, or he represents people that have the money? Like, what's
he says he has up to 100 million in his portfolio, and he has affiliates that can get even up to $1 billion if he wants. Listen, I don't know if it's true or not. I'm just telling you what the conversation was. So I said, cool. Hey, cool. That's what I said. I said, cool. I said I had a podcast to do. Paul, if you have a business partner, you have my information. I'm gonna leave the ball in your court. I'm interested. You know what I want to do. Talk to your partner, and let's set up a time to talk. He said, yeah. But if I just blew him off because it was a cold call, that opportunity wouldn't have been there. So that's my point with cold calls. Like, don't be an asshole.
Here's my thing. I'm with you there. I really am. But if Delta calls me one more time,
or ADT,
oh my God,
that's what they're gonna get. I like guys like Keith and Paul. I'm chatty Cathy over here. I'll sit and have a conversation. Nothing has come up, but I do like what you said about adding them to the database. I have had conversations, and I will be honest, I've dropped the ball there. Like, I didn't even think to add them to my database.
Yeah, you will.
Like, even Keith emailed me as we were talking.
Add them in. I did.
Well,
we both have
did.
them now. It doesn't matter. Put them in too. Listen, if you promise me you put them in and you do the great letters and the follow-up sequences, I will remove him from mine and he's yours. If you promise.
My great letters are already in motion. Actually, at the gym this morning, one of my girlfriends was like, I got your yellow envelope, Jen.
Shit works, man. We can talk about that too. But Alex, we mentioned ADT and how big of their pain in the ass, but people who are not in this world knows what that is. Tell everyone what's the deal with ADT and cold calling.
I don't know. I've hung up on them ever since I first spoke to them during one of my first few sales. So I don't know what the whole spiel is. But basically, they cold call, I guess, agents who sell, I don't know if it's any property or a property that originally had ADT service. And they try to get free service for your clients. And you get like a commission or referral commission or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And they want to know our client's contact information. I'm not at liberty to divulge information.
Exactly.
So I say, look, I'm sorry, I can't help you. I'm not sure if they'd be interested in it. I'm not going to give you their information.
They call in every closing, and it's multiple people from the same salespeople.
Mm-hmm.
Like I get that call all the time, and I have them, and I block them. And it's not that I don't respect the hustle. It's just after you tell them so many times, hey guys, please just remove me from your list, and they still call over and over again, then you're like,
Yeah.
listen, now they're being disrespectful. There's two companies who does that. There's a company out in New York that cold calls to be your cold caller. And that's what they do. They have the 514 area code, and I always block them. They always call me from another one, and they always keep doing it, even though I tell them to leave. At that point, it's okay to be rude. That's why I'm also rude to the AD&T people, because it says clearly right there, if they looked at their CRM or if they have one, do not call again, and they still call.
Mm-hmm.
I'll get them this time.
I'll convert him.
Yep.
Yeah,
So
but lastly, I always get cold emails, cold DMs from everybody and anybody. I'm sure you guys do too, since you're pretty active on social media. Like, hey, your videos suck. Do you want me to make them better? Like
yes,
I got that. I was like, wow.
All the time.
I haven't gotten the word your video sucked, but definitely on the back end of that.
That's what they say.
I was like, all right, how much you? I was like, how much
you
you charge?
be doing better.
Yeah,
well,
no,
they're trying to get an arousal out of you. They're trying to get a reaction out of you.
But think about it, guys. Like, if they made really good content for their people and all that stuff, wouldn't the word of mouth from those people push their business up?
Be enough.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like every time I hear a marketing company cold calling me, I'm like, you're marketing by calling me, and I don't like calling people. What? There's a miss here. I don't, you know what I mean? You're not like, you have to attract me in other ways. Because you're pretty much saying the way you get business is from the phone, not your marketing.
Oh, here's what he said. Your videos are amateurishly edited and look amateurish.
Oh, thanks.
And I'm like,
thanks, Patel.
Dang.
Yeah. And I was like, wow, go F yourself. How much do you charge? I was still curious because he got my attention, so I had to.
Did he reference the video?
No, he didn't.
It wasn't a direct comment to a specific video?
No, he emailed me, I guess. So I respect the hustle. He got my email. And I know they're super amateurish, but whatever. It's content. And he's made videos for Tatiana Landano. I'm sure you guys know who she is. It's $69 per video. I'm like, no, I'm okay.
You know, but this goes like this. It's like, another thing that I often preach is, if you have something that's really good, that solves people's problems, that people enjoy, a good product, like with real estate or a video, you don't need to do all that stuff, you know, because people tell everyone about you because they're impressed with what you do and how different you are. So when people reach out to me, it's like, well, A, you're just reaching out not knowing if I want your services, and B, you're being insulting, and C, you're telling me that you're not that good, because if you were, you'd probably be so busy you wouldn't be doing this. Shouldn't it be you editing a video right now? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
it's
I
true.
should say your business model is amateurish. You shouldn't need to be doing this if you're really that good. Now go edit a video and impress me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We'll have a call. Should I answer it live on the phone on the podcast? I don't know if that's like a privacy policy.
It might be, but
I
don't know.
Maybe mute yourself.
It's not exciting if it's muted. If people are listening in, you know, see what it's like to be a realtor.
It's funny because I see the three of us kind of glancing over at our phone that's on Do Not Disturb, but it's still blinking.
Alex is not kind of doing it. Alex is like this.
Look, man, I got a real estate business to run.
I know.
And I can multitask. I had that on my resume when I used to have one. I'm an excellent multitasker.
So yesterday, for everyone who's listening, for the coaching program, we have on Tuesdays, we have our meetings, and we started fresh at day one yesterday, and it was a packed house and everyone's cameras on. I think there was like 40 or so people on there. And the only person I can see is Alex laying on a chair on a couch like this. Well, you guys can't see me. Just imagine laying back on his phone looking at it. And I'm sitting here. I spent 3 hours on this PowerPoint. I spent probably weeks putting this content together, months figuring out, lining it up, putting it in the program. And I'm like, this is my boy here. This is my boy. And people look up to him. This motherfucker is just chilling on his phone like playing Candy Crush.
You know? Hold on. First of all, it was free cell, but my buddy who was also in that class, he's like, hey, can I get a copy of your notes? Because he had just had his wisdom teeth or some sort of like, but he was on the call anyway. I was like, he's like, can I copy your notes after class? You haven't heard that in 20 years, LOL. I'm like, just like 20 years ago, I'm eating and not paying attention.
Yeah, I knew it.
I mean,
you know how
honesty
distracting that is?
You know? I'm so sorry. I will turn my camera off next time.
So we did one of those live boot camps, and listen, I know this shit. I'm not offended if you don't do it, but but it does distract you when you put this much effort to help people and they're literally picking their nose. You know what I mean? You're like, dude. Anyways, so I did a live boot camp once, and we had a guy who kept on. I'm sorry for listening, buddy. You're a great guy, but I'm not going to say your name. But he kept falling asleep in the boot camp, and everyone else is like all amped up and ready to go, and I just can't think about anyone else. I'm just watching this guy, head back, mouth open, like catching flies, and I'm like, man, I guess this is not a good sales pitch for my training, but but that stuff does. So people don't realize when you're on those platforms and you're the presenter and you put so much time and energy in these things, and people do that, and people are doing that. Like if you're that, you sit there and you're like, oh my god, this is just destroying my soul.
Well, now I feel like an asshole, so mission accomplished.
I wasn't saying it to make you feel like an asshole. You were just doing it again now, and I was referencing what happened yesterday.
Oh, yeah. It's ADD. I told you about that.
Yeah, I know.
But it's work stuff.
It's who I
Like someone playing free cell this time.
I used to do it in Jackie Ellis's classes before I started teaching. Like all that, I would literally just be like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And she would always just walk and stand next to me as I'm doing it. And just to prove a point, because we're not in school, I'll continue doing it. I get to know her. She was right next to me, right? But now I feel bad because now I know what it's like.
Now you know.
Yeah, you know.
In my former life, I was an educator. I would have used the same
the same method.
Tool. Yes, it's all about awareness.
You are built for teaching.
Classes too.
Oh, I teach.
I taught classes, and all of a sudden I hear probably. I think I know who the gentleman that fell asleep in the class was, but I think it was the same guy. Or female.
Is he like Is it narcolepsy? Is that what it is?
No, I think he was just bored, or it's like doesn't have good like.
I was
maybe his thyroid's out of whack, but all of a sudden this guy starts like scrolling through, I guess, Instagram or TikTok or whatever, and like he had headphones in, but I guess he didn't realize that they weren't connected. So for like a solid like 10, 12 seconds, it was just like whatever he was watching was going off. Thankfully, it wasn't something inappropriate. That would have been interesting. But I was like, I just stopped talking and waited for him to stop or put it on mute. And then he finally realized after like 10, 12 seconds.
Alex, what do you teach?
I teach a few different classes. Tomorrow I'm actually teaching a class on trend graphics and chart master. Those are two really powerful tools that our KW office uses. Have you looked at chart masters?
Yes.
No, I know about it, but I haven't.
That's a really cool one. Yeah, so I use it a lot during all my listing presentations. I don't know if you saw the reel that I posted yesterday that compared 2019 to today's market, because 2019 was the last normal. So that's where I pulled the 2019 data is from Chartmasters. And it just shows you the difference between the two markets. We're still 33% below inventory, yada, yada. Because I feel like a lot of agents, the market's slowing down. They think, oh, it's doom and gloom, but it's the same market. We're still a little bit better than what it was pre-pandemic levels. So I'm teaching chart masters and trend graphics. I also teach a video class where you can source content, create a script, record, edit, and post in 25 minutes. But once you get good at it, you can do it in 10 minutes.
Alex, before you continue, Before you continue on, I'm going to do a plug for you. For any agent that wants to go to the office tomorrow, what time, Alex?
Wow, it is at the Keller Williams Boca Raton West office on Palmetto and Powerline. It is 11 a.m.
11 a.m. I'm telling you,
Yep.
Chartmasters, Trend Graphics, those tools are just amazing. Oh, do we have
Amazing.
Snooze Fest down here?
No, we have Chris getting a new high score.
Ding, 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 ding.
Guys, you gotta get on my Bustelo level, okay?
I actually am. I brought in my own Bustelo with the little Keurig cups. Oh, we lost Jen. Oh,
Okay.
there you go. I see you. And then I also I just taught my buyer consultation class last week as well. So I teach a lot of stuff, and I teach prepping for a listing presentation.
Dream 300 lead. Just texted
Good
me.
stuff.
Cool.
Yeah, she wants to sell her house. Heads up, Gen Con and Cost recording will continue on a new track. I started the new recording for Gen Con due to change in their devices.
Yeah, the device shook when I.
Are you using like your phone?
No.
Like, the video quality is a whole lot different now.
Yeah, it went to my Mac versus the Insta 360. It's gonna come back in. My camera's. I'm switching.
We're learning the tech here again. So when we download this and put this on YouTube, I think we're putting on. Should we have a YouTube channel for this?
Yeah.
It should. Yeah, it should work. Should work. We should go.
I'm here.
You look like the letter J.
So we were talking about, it's funny you were talking about real estate agents that enter the industry but has an experience or a quote unquote stable, normal market. And my God, that's such a common thing. There's a lot of people enter the industry when it's hot, which is very common, right? When there's more sales and more transactions, i.e. more income, more people join the industry. And then when things get harder, people leave the industry. It's just human nature. But anyways, so before these quote unquote unicorn years, as Jennifer likes to call them,
I do.
Yeah, you do. Before these years where everything was easier, I would argue they weren't easier, but they were easier. Yeah. Well, anyways, prior to this, it was very common for us and any real estate agent to take on an expired listing that came elsewhere, and they'll say, "Hey, my thing has expired with." An expired listing, for you don't know, is someone who put the house on the market and to have a contract with a real estate broker, and that time expired, and they no longer have a relationship with them. And that was more common than it wasn't. And these individuals will call around, or if they didn't, already locked in another contract, in shop agents, and we'll get the call often to list your house as their new agent. But anyways, what I'm getting at is we had a situation where we had to copy a listing from another listing yesterday. And I realized that my admin, Steven, he's so new to the game, he didn't even know that was a thing. And I'm realizing, I'm like, oh my God, we used to copy listings like all the time. It was just normal. You just pull it and hit copy. And he's like, you could do that? It just makes you realize, like, God, we're old. A.
Yeah.
And B, these agents, not Steven, but I'm reflecting on it because he's not an agent, he's admin. But these agents have no idea what a real estate industry is like, and they're about.
But you know what? At the same time, they're actually coming in at an advantage with the compensation changes that are happening, because they don't have to relearn how things are done.
True.
You know what I mean?
That's a really solid point.
They can come in with like a fresh thought, so they're not as intimidated by some of the people that have been in business for about 25, 10, 5 years. And they're actually, I think they're going to be a lot better off than some of the agents who have been around for a while.
Alex, let's give people some context here. They don't.
Sure.
You mentioned. What are you talking about? NAR settlement.
Yeah. So as far as the NAR settlement goes, the way that agents who represent the buyer are going to be compensated. Before these changes came into effect, the way commissions were handled, when Chris, as a listing agent, would meet with a seller, if you would negotiate a commission, could have been 4, 5, 6, 7, 10%, it doesn't matter. And in that same agreement, it would state from that commission how much would go to a buyer's agent. Anybody who's representing the buyer, how much of that would be given to the buyer's agent. And that was always a negotiated fee. I always had conversations with sellers. But a couple of years ago, there was a class action lawsuit brought upon by disgruntled sellers who felt that they were paying buyer's agents to negotiate against them on their behalf. So things changed, and now buyers have to pay for their own buyer agency fees. Anytime they hire a buyer's agent, they have to pay them. But what's really happening is we're just changing line items, because a buyer can still request for the seller to assist in those fees. And in most cases, it's all part of the negotiation. It's just a new negotiation. But it's also benefiting the buyer in some regards as well, because now we actually have to explain to them if there was agents that weren't doing that previously, and they have to be a lot more transparent nowadays. I don't know about you guys, but my buyer consultation before we even started looking at properties lasted an hour, really going through A to Z what to expect and what type of duties that I owe to them. I guess there was a whole lot of bad apples that made the entire bunch look spoiled when it came to buyers agents. They weren't explaining things to buyers. Buyers were coming in blinded. But really what's going to happen come August 17th, when the changes are put into effect on the MLS, where it no longer states any percentage that's being offered from the seller or the seller's agent to a buyer's agent, there's just going to be more negotiations. It's going to be having to have that conversation with the seller's agent beforehand, before we put in an offer. Just before this podcast, a few of us were, masterminding. I know Chris hates the word masterminding. That's what we're doing. And discussing all the changes, and it's going to be nerve-wracking. I think it's going to be I don't know if tumultuous is the right word.
Yeah, it's going to be like the Wild Wild West at first. I feel like there's going to be some trial and error, but in reality,
6 to 9 months, I feel like it's gonna be difficult for sellers to realize. I always say sellers are always 9 months behind on what's actually happening in the market. When interest rates shot up, sellers still thought 6, 7, 8, 9 months later, let's just see what. Yeah, exactly. And they're gonna learn, and it's gonna be a lot harder for them to probably sell if they're not having the discussion. The sellers aren't, or the listing agents aren't having the discussions with the sellers that not every buyer can afford out of pocket to pay for this buyer's agent, since the buyers are bringing all the money through a mortgage to pay the seller for the property. They will have to use some of those proceeds to compensate the agents.
Well, yeah, I mean, so right now, yeah, it's always been done because why? Why would a seller offer the compensation? Well, one, it was already baked into the sale. So they'll look at all their neighbors' sales. Like, I want that, but I don't want to pay this. I want to lose this money. It's like, hey, that money's never yours in the first place. And those neighbors also paid the compensation.
They paid their
it was baked into that. So that money was not yours. It's unrealized money. It didn't exist. You didn't work for it. It's equity, right? And but whatever, you want to argue that point, fine. But the thing with it all is that buyers have down payment, closing costs, appraisals, inspections, all that stuff. They're paying repairs. They're paying a lot of money, and the only thing the really seller had to pay were doc stamps and commission, and depending on your county title policy, it wasn't a whole lot. But if sellers now don't want to pay any commission on it, right? So what would happen? Either the buyer is going to pay their broker, or the buyer is not going to pay the broker. They're going to go unrepresented, and then the represented seller's agent, who's a better negotiator, is not going to be able to provide quality service for that buyer, right? So I'm just wondering why this thing is even happening at all. But when it comes to talking to sellers, because we're in a very fortunate situation where the phone is not exactly not ringing off the hook. I'm literally texting my new listing lead now and looking her up on the tax record while you're talking. That's what I do instead of Fortnite, whatever you play. But anyways, in those conversations I'm having, and there have been more than a dozen, I'm explaining them basically it's this. This is what we offer on our end and what we do. And now you have to choose if you want to offer compensation with the buyer. And it's always been that way, but now it's just more clear. I will recommend you offering at least this, and here is why. And if people want to know why, I'll tell you why not, because Alex is not sleeping yet. He's getting there. So the reason why is that when the buyers go home shopping for a house, they're looking for what the quote unquote is the best or fair deal for them, their best bang for their buck. So what they're looking at is they're looking at the combination of the condition of the house, the price, and the price of the house before. But now they're also going to look at compensation to their broker as one of the three. Now it's going to be three conditions that they're going to mix and match to see which houses are best for them to make their offers. So if there's 10 houses on the market, 8 of them are offering compensation, 2 are not. Where do you think these buyers are going to lean towards? Once this new, I think that's where the new normal is going to settle out. It's going to be odd. But to go back to your original point, Alex, that these new agents have, they don't have to relearn anything. You're absolutely right. Ignorance. I am so glad I was ignorant on how hard this business is when I started, because if I knew it was this hard, I probably wouldn't have done it. I'm glad I thought it was going to be easy.
So, Chris,
right?
Everyone does.
Yeah, everyone does. But
and 87% people fail. Yeah. And you name all your houses. They're
the greenhouse,
the sparkling turtle house. Stupid.
No, but I've had these conversations already. I mean, for almost, I don't know, like 2 or 3 months at this point with our sellers. And after walking them through the process, the potential scenarios that they will be in come that time when they're not offering any compensation, they realize like, okay, wait, there's a cost. There's a cost of doing this, and now I have to, there's a holding cost, right? I now have to sit on this property longer. I may have 2 mortgages at this point, and all because I don't want to offer compensation. I'm losing money overall instead of saving money.
It's like dating. When you go on a date, you want to put your best foot forward. You want to dress nice, smell good, right? You don't want to go on a date with your hair undone and your shirt disheveled and unironed and you playing video games at the table because you're bored. Right, you want to always put your best foot forward on it, and by offering a lower compensation to it, is just why set yourself up for failure? Greed, and it is greed.
Yes, it is. That's all it is. And then buyers are going to realize,
you're greedy.
Or sellers, I should say, sellers are going to realize when they're selling their property, they don't want to pay a commission there or offer some sort of compensation to move the sale along. And they're gonna have to buy something else and not want to pay their agent there as well. So it's gonna be difficult, and there's gonna be a lot of coming to Jesus moments for a lot of these people who, lack for better terms.
And there will be a new precedent and a new normal. There's gonna be a new precedent and a new normal, and it might be 5 years from now. But so someone did reach out to me, a new agent, saying, I know this is a bad time to get in. I was like, this is a great time to get in, because everyone thinks it's a bad time. Yeah. When everyone thinks things are bad, when 90% of the people think they're bad, that's when you go in, right? That's where the opportunity lies in the difficulty of a situation, because everyone else just, I hope they clip that. That was a good line. Opportunity lies in the difficulty of a situation. So,
bumper sticker.
I know. I'm gonna wear a shirt. So, anyways,
just to let you guys know, I'll stop in 2 minutes because I want to go get my daughter.
No, we're done now. Actually, it's only an hour and we started late. So let's wrap this up. Quick plugs, guys. So you guys will see a new episode on YouTube, wherever we decide to put this on YouTube. We have to make a channel, I guess. And you can just check your apps, your podcast apps. Every week will be here. Chris Cusimano, if you want to reach out to me, you can just Google my name, Chris, Cusimano. I have a coaching program. Jennifer, where can people find you?
Jen Konikoff. Find me on Facebook, Instagram, Google, you name it, I'm there.
And I'm Alex Mendel. You can find me on Instagram at Alex Mendel Homes.
And what's your handle for your little video game?
I play as guest user 1238741.
Put that in, and that's your boy Alex. He'll play with you Candy Crush or whatever it is.
Especially every Tuesday
Every
At
Wednesday,
noon.
every
1 o'clock.
Wednesday at 2:20.
During Cusi coaching.
Oh, by the way, yes, you say we do teach live as a group. It's fun like this. Tuesdays at noon. Well, it's fun for most people. Some people play video games and fall asleep, but for everyone else, it's fun. If you want access to that, you can try it out totally for free. If not, well,
And I'll send you guys the link for that as well.
It works, my friends. Let's do it.
Actually, we'll put your link in there. All right, guys, y'all have a good one.
Thanks, guys. See ya.
Later.
Bye. How do you end this? There
I
you go.
don't know.
Bye.
I was about to hit buy, but I don't know where the buy is.
This is totally going to be at the end of the podcast. Okay, then have a great day. Bye.
Bye.